Aquinora Robina Mugisha, the chairperson of the Women Council of Nakapiripiri District, at the same time the National Treasurer of the Women Council. We are so happy to be in Kyankwanzi today. God bless you.
Your Excellency, I'm Kichoncho Brenda, Secretary Female Affairs National Youth Council, and also the youth representative at National Women Executive. Mama, I want to thank you for mentoring us, especially the young women, and also guiding the women of Uganda. You're a true example of a true woman. We thank you and we love you so much. Thank you very much. Mzai oi! Mzai oi!
Thank you so very much. Your Excellency, we have a member on the executive who is also a minister in the Ministry of Gender, Honorable Asamo. She represents women with disability in the Women's Council. Allow me also, Your Excellency, in a very special way, to recognize and appreciate our sisters, the women in the uniform. We thank you so much. Thank you for representing us very well. For those of us who failed to join the forces because of some reasons, but we do not take your being there for granted. Thank you. You make us proud. Your Excellency, my name is Hajat Farida Chibowa. I'm the chairperson of the National Women's Council of Uganda, but I am also the chairperson of Kayunga District. I came with a team from Kayunga. The women leaders from Kayunga are there. I also want to introduce myself as the speaker of the second Women's Parliament that was held on the 3rd March 2005. Your Excellency, we have lost a number of women in this country in the last few months. One of them is our own, the former member of Parliament for Nakasongola, Honorable Komhanji Margaret. By the time we came, she was the chairperson of the Gender Committee of Parliament. We also lost Honorable Babadiri, the former member of Parliament for Koboko. But we also lost our chairpersons, the chairperson of Karenga District Women Council, and Natuk Emma Emiri, and just recently we have lost the chairperson of Busia District, Honorable Taka Florence. So it is at this point that I request that we stand and observe a moment of silence for our fallen sisters. May their souls rest in eternal peace. Your Excellency, as you're aware, the National Women's Council that we lead was established by the 1993 Act of Parliament with the major objective of bringing women together for development purposes. Your Excellency, this council has got elective structures from the village to the national level, where I also happen to be the national chairperson with my executive members. We have district leaders and lower government leaders, some of whom are here with us today, and many are there out watching us. Your Excellency and Mama, I want to particularly thank you because since our assumption onto power, you have personally attended all the women's celebrations wherever we have been. When we came into power in 2018, we had our first Women's Day celebration in Bunyangabo district. You attended personally and Mama. In 2020, we celebrated our Women's Day in Mbale and you joined us. In 2021, it was time of COVID pandemic, but nevertheless, you still hosted a few of us at State House in Entebbe. In 2022, we hosted the celebrations in Kololo Independence Grounds. In 2023, you hosted us in Chiruhura district, and it was amazing. In 2024, Your Excellency, last year, you never left us. Still, you showed up for the celebrations in Katakwi, and you hosted us, the women's leaders, at State House before the day, which day we can never forget in our lives. Today, 8th March 2025, we are super excited that you and Mama, again, you've not disowned us. You have come to celebrate with us here in Kyankwanzi at Bukwiri Church of Uganda Primary School. We, as the owners of the day, we can never take this opportunity to celebrating with us. We are so happy, and we thank you for being with us all the time. This year's day is celebrated under the theme, Accelerate Action for Gender Equality. Your Excellency, this theme resonates well with your well-intentioned initiatives towards gender equality and women's economic empowerment in Uganda. Many programs have been put in place, like the Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program, the Parish Development Model, Emyoga, GROW, Jiwakali, SAGE, UPE, USE, but we want to thank you so much for the PDM that has supported income-generating activities at household level. We want to honestly appreciate you for that. I also want to inform you, Your Excellency, that the presidential skilling hubs that you introduced across the country are a very good initiative. I'm confident that these hubs are already producing skilled young women and men who are already competitive in the labor market. Mzee, I have moved with you across the country in these skilling centers, and I have witnessed the ability of these young people to participate in production value chain competitively. We thank you for instilling hope in the young people, especially the girls, most of whom are school dropouts and single mothers. These single mothers, Mr. President, are impregnated by men, and after they abandon them because they don't want to take responsibility. This one we have noted with concern. The industrial hub I have talked about, Mzee, I want to thank you again because you have actually committed to support the circles formed by the graduates from these skilling hubs in their respective districts. We appreciate the technical staff for ensuring these hubs operate effectively, headed by the State House Comptroller, Mrs. Jane Marichi, and the Executive Director, Mr. Raymond. Mr. President, during our tenure of office as National Women's Council, we have registered significant increase in budget for the Women's Council. This saw us popularize the roles of the women leaders and grassroots women, mobilizing them to participate in government programs and equipping them with life skills. However, Mr. President, in 2024-2025, our budget has been adversely cut by 80%. The implication of this is that the 3 million contribution to all the districts to celebrate Women's Day will not be sent, as has been the case, yet it is on such occasions that the districts take stock about their achievements on the existing government programs. Additionally, the institutional support fund that was being dispersed by the district to the district to support district women council leaders to monitor government and non-government programs will not be equally sent, and this has made it difficult to recover web money and YLP, yet it is a revolving fund. Women get money, they return it, and others get an opportunity. But without this institutional support, the recovery rate is going down. It's my prayer to redirect Ministry of Finance to reinstate the budget for the National Women's Council to enable your women leaders effectively carry out their mandate. Your Excellency, I'm glad to report to you that the women's movement in Uganda has been engaged in Women's Week activities commemorating this eventful day. I want to take this opportunity to thank each and everyone who has participated and contributed in the Women's Week. I want to thank the Minister of Gender, Honorable Betty, the State Minister, Honorable P.C. Mutuzo, and the PS, Mr. Agre Chibenge, for the activities and all the technical staff in the Ministry of Gender, not forgetting the executive of the Women's Council. We have been so much engaged in the Women's Week doing activities. Among the activities, Your Excellency, that we had was the second Women's Parliament, and that was held on the 3rd of March 2025 under the theme Consolidating Women's Social and Economic Transformation in Uganda. I want to report to you that over 500 carefully selected district women and female youth leaders from across the country attended. This activity was organized by the Parliament of Uganda under the able leadership of the Right Honorable Anita Among, the Speaker of the 11th Parliament. As the rules of procedure of Parliament require, the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker are elected among the honorable members. The honorable members of the Women's Parliament that day democratically elected me as the Speaker of the second Women's Parliament and elected Honorable Macklin Natkunda as Deputy Speaker. Natkunda, the Deputy Speaker of the Women's Parliament, you can wave to the President. I was sworn in and presided over the session, and it was a very good opportunity. First time to enter Parliament, I went straight to the Speaker's chair. The second Women's Parliament focused on 4 areas: the women's political participation in leadership, women's economic empowerment and financial inclusion, education and leadership development for women and girls, climate resilience, and gender equality. Throughout the debate, it came out clearly that all ministries, departments and agencies, and financial bodies, private sector, civil society, organizations should work collaboratively to ensure that women's empowerment, economic empowerment, remains a national priority to sustainable development and inclusive growth. 29 resolutions were agreed upon, and I handed them over to the Right Honorable Speaker of the 11th Parliament, who promised to present them to the chairman of the Central Executive Committee of the party. At this point, I also want to really appreciate Right Honorable Anita Among for the opportunity accorded to the lower grassroots women leaders of Uganda who attended Parliament that day. As I conclude, Mr. President and Ma'am, despite the progress, challenges still exist that require intentional interventions. Reports indicate that some husbands are denying their wives the opportunity to participate in economic empowerment programs, such as the WEP, and women end up missing the opportunity of improving their lives. Challenge of gender-based violence, teenage pregnancy, female mutilation, and child marriages persist in most of the parts of the country, which undermine the gains and made in terms of women's empowerment. It is important that these issues are addressed to further advance gender equality in Uganda. Finally, as we prepare for 2026 general elections, it was resolved by the women that 2026 general elections, you still remain our choice as the president of this country. Women, oye! Museveni, oye! Thank you so much. We want to wish you, Your Excellency, a safe stay here, and Janima says when we are going back. The women leaders have been here for a week since Monday, but they said they cannot go back up country without welcoming you here in Kyankwanzi. 180 women are here ready to receive you, Muzei. They came from all over the country. Thank you. May God bless you. We love you as our father and the champion of affirmative action. We celebrate you and we celebrate Mama as well. For God and my country.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson of the National Women's Council. May I take the honor to invite the Chairperson of the National United Nations Resident Coordinator. United Nations Resident Coordinator. I wish you can make it here briefly and quickly. And since the coordinator has opted to come with more than one, I am sure she will introduce the members she has come along with. Madam Chiwango, kindly make a bit faster steps like cadres of the women movement who are moving towards equality so that we can get there as fast as possible. I love the male champion who is supporting the ladies to move at his pace.
Yes. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Uganda, I couldn't come up here by myself. I had to come with my sisters. So please allow me, with your permission, for them to introduce themselves. Please. Pauline.
Mheshimiwa Baba, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano ya Uganda, Mheshimiwa Mama, asante sana kwa kutuheshimisha na heri sana kwa sikukuu ya kina mama duniani.
Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Uganda, the First Lady, all protocols observed. My name is Wane Wedobaho, and I'm the resident representative for United Nations Development Program in Uganda.
So I'm standing here before you, Excellency, with two very powerful women, my two sisters on the United Nations country team in Uganda. Your Excellency, Yoweri Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda. Your Excellency, Madam First Lady of the Republic of Uganda. Your Excellency, the Vice President, the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honorable Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development, Honorable Ministers and senior government officials present, Honorable Members of Parliament, heads of diplomatic missions and heads of UN agencies. Two of my sisters are up with me here on the podium. Representatives of the district local governments, representatives from civil society and the private sector, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed, and greetings from the United Nations family in Uganda. I am delighted to address you today as we gather to mark this year's International Women's Day under the theme, Accelerate Action for Gender Equality. And I must add, gender equity and gender parity in leadership, which calls for bold and strategic interventions towards a gender equal future. The commemoration is happening at a time when the world is marking the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, a landmark commitment adopted by 189 governments in 1995. setting the world on a path toward gender equality that was valid then and is valid today. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, Uganda is applauded for the policies and programs you have implemented to support women's economic empowerment, such as the National Development Plan 3 and the new one, National Development Plan 4, the Parish Development Model, where women participate fully without discrimination, the Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program, and the Generating Growth Opportunities and Productivity for Women Enterprises, GROW project. These initiatives, amongst many others, are creating opportunities for women to transition from subsistence to market-oriented activities, enabling them to participate in labor market, access sustainable livelihood options, including financial inclusion, and enhancing household and community resilience. And above all, they promote economic growth in Uganda. Despite these achievements, some challenges persist. Women and girls still face social structural barriers, such as patriarchy, which hinder their potential growth and fulfillment, and they also face persistent gender-based violence and also the burden of unpaid care work, which continues to limit women's full participation in the economy, translating to lost opportunities and significant costs to the country. Your Excellency, with just 5.5 years now remaining to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, it is now as important as ever for us to collectively redouble our efforts, advancing SDG 5, Sustainable Goal 5 on gender equality, which is a critical factor which will also underpin the achievement of all the others SDGs. As we reflect on this year's International Women's Day theme of accelerating action for gender equality, let us commit to working together to accelerate bold actions to promote gender equality and women's empowerment in Uganda. Your Excellency, permit me to share an example of how our concerted efforts are making a difference in advancing gender equality while laying the groundwork for food security and resilience, and ensuring access to nutritious food. Through United Nations support to women's leadership in sustainable agriculture, the Kabong Women's Farmers Association improved agronomic practices and marketing and grew from 67 members in 2015 to over 1,800 members today. They have sold maize and beans over this same period worth in excess of $1.6 million US. And this has facilitated the support to the United Nations supported school feeding programs in the Karamoja sub-region, boosting both local nutrition and their economic power. The women of Karamoja are working for Karamoja to feed Karamoja. That is excellent, I think. I call upon all stakeholders, the government, private sector, development partners, civil society, community leaders, the women of Uganda, to take stock of the gains, to take stock of the gaps, and what needs to be done to promote real and strong gender equality. I wish to highlight some of the actions that we need to take. First and foremost, I think we need to invest in women and girls by strengthening implementation of existing gender-responsive policies. This alone can catalyze changes in various ways. For instance, enabling more women and girls to access and benefit from economic opportunities, enabling girls to complete their education cycles, and ensuring perpetrators of violence against women are held accountable. We can also expand access to finance for women by enhancing financial literacy, supporting women-led businesses, and ensuring equitable access to credit and investment opportunities, including value addition, particularly in agriculture, innovation, and the circular economy. We can also support women, support them strongly in the area of digital inclusion for women to enhance their competitiveness and effective participation in the economy. We must also address unpaid care burden by recognizing and redistributing care work to enhance women's economic participation. Men need to do their part for caring after members of their family, especially children. Before I conclude, Your Excellency, I would like to share a message from the United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, your good friend, on International Women's Day. He says, and I quote, "When the doors of equal opportunity are open for women and girls, everyone wins. Equal societies are more prosperous and peaceful, and the foundation of sustainable development." On this International Women's Day, we recognize 30 years of progress and achievement since the landmark United Nations Conference in Beijing. When women and girls can rise, we all thrive. Together, let's stand firm in making rights, equality, and empowerment a reality for all women and girls, for everyone, everywhere. End of quote. Your Excellency, my last remarks. The UN family here in Uganda remains committed to working alongside government under your leadership and all partners to accelerate action towards gender equality and women's empowerment. Together, we can create a more inclusive and prosperous future for all in Uganda, and I wish all the women of Uganda and the girls happy International Women's Day. I thank you. Shall we?
Thank you, Excellency, the elaborate, the coordinator of United Nations. Can I take this opportunity to invite Her Excellency, the Ambassador of Sweden, as she comes. Sweden has been a key partner in our development on gender equality and women empowerment. And we took the example because they have already achieved parity, but they have also been supporting many interventions. As she comes, I want to recognize the presence of a big delegation from Mitiana. Honorable Nabakova Judith came with a very big delegation from Mitiana. You are recognized. Thank you for coming. Another big delegation came from Chiboga. Honorable Ruth Nankabirwa brought a very big delegation from Chiboga. And the Honorable Singer Harriet brought a big delegation from Hoima. Honorable Sarah Najuma brought a big delegation from Nakaseke. And another big delegation came from Kamuli. Kamuli, sponsored by the First Deputy Prime Minister, came along with a very big delegation. Your Excellency, the Ambassador of Sweden, kindly come and make your remarks.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Excellency, the First Lady of the Republic of Uganda, Her Excellency, the Vice President, Honorable Ministers, Members of Parliament, Excellencies, Heads of Diplomatic Missions, UN agencies, distinguished representatives from civil society, private sector, government institutions, local leaders, development partners, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. It's an honor to stand before you today, representing Team Europe and the gender development partners in Uganda, as we gather here in Kyankwanzi district to celebrate International Women's Day 2025. Today is a moment to reflect, celebrate, and recommit ourselves to ensuring that every woman and girl, regardless of their background, fully enjoys her fundamental rights, experiences true equality, and is empowered to realize her full potential. Sweden has long championed gender equality as a cornerstone of our society. We firmly believe that empowering women and girls is not only a moral obligation, but also a prerequisite for sustainable development and prosperity. This commitment is reflected also in our development cooperation, where gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls are prioritized. As we have heard today, this year marks the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, which is regarded as a comprehensive and transformative framework for advancing gender equality globally and a landmark commitment to women and girls world over. It was in Beijing that the world recognized that women's rights are human rights, and since then, global and national efforts have yielded significant progress, and in Uganda, women's leadership and economic empowerment have expanded and legal frameworks have been strengthened to protect women and girls, and Uganda is one of the countries in the sub-region that other nations are learning from. We commend the government of Uganda for its commitment to advancing gender equality, and we see the progress in increasing women's representation in leadership. And I have to say, I often get the question what Sweden do and compared to Uganda, and I have to say that with all humbleness that Sweden is still way behind Uganda when it comes to women representatives in political positions. So well done, Uganda. We also see improvement in women's land ownership, enhancing economic security. Government initiatives like the Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program have fostered financial independence, and the long-standing collaboration between government of Uganda and development partners through several different programs and partnerships have yielded positive outcome, particularly in addressing gender-based violence and promoting sexual reproductive health and rights. These achievements demonstrate that with robust policies, targeted investments, and community-driven efforts, we can break barriers and create a future where not only women and girls can thrive, but the whole of society. However, we also have to acknowledge that major challenges persist. We must confront the persistent gender-based inequalities that continue to hold back progress, structural inequalities, discriminatory social norms, and inadequate policy implementation limit women's access to resources, leadership opportunities, and protection from gender-based violence. The digital divide and lack of access to technology further exacerbate these disparities, restricting women's ability to fully engage in the modern economy. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this anniversary and this celebration serves as a powerful reminder that our work is not yet over. And to drive transformative change, we should put our focus on key levers that can unlock women's full potential. And I would like to mention 3 areas here. The first one, women's economic empowerment, crucial for community and national programs. When women have access to credit, land, markets, and resources, they improve their livelihoods, and they contribute to innovation and resilience. Empowered women reinvest in their families, enhancing education, healthcare, and well-being, creating a positive ripple effect. The second is the digital divide and bridging it, which is an essential step where women in Uganda still face significant barriers. Promoting digital inclusion will enable women to engage in e-commerce, access financial services, grow their businesses, and driving greater economic empowerment. And finally, we must take immediate actions to end gender-based violence, a critical human rights violation that affects many women and girls. And the economic cost of gender-based violence in Uganda is estimated at 77.5 billion Ugandan shilling annually. Strengthening survivor support services, increasing funding for legal aid, and investing in prevention programs are vital. We must also challenge harmful cultural norms and safeguard women's sexual reproductive health and rights, enabling them to make informed decisions free from violence and coercion. Addressing gender-based violence is essential for creating a society where women can thrive. As Uganda prepares for the 2026 elections, we need to recognize the important role of women in leadership and decision-making. Women's participation in politics, it's not just about numbers, it's about fairness, inclusion, and making sure policies reflect the needs of all people. We believe that having both men and women in leadership leads to stronger democracies and better societies. And we appreciate Uganda's progress in increasing women's participation in parliament and leadership. Still, there are challenges such as unfair social norms, political barriers that limit women's full participation. We need to work together to ensure that women not only take part in leadership, but also have real power to influence decisions. It's also important that election laws support gender equality and protect women from political violence and harassment. Development partners remain committed to supporting Uganda on its journey towards a fairer and more inclusive democracy. Distinguished guests, Your Excellency, gender equality is not just a woman's issue. It affects everyone, and we must recognize that true progress requires the active involvement of men and boys. They play a crucial role in challenging traditions, breaking stereotypes, and promoting fairness in society. And when we all work together, we move closer to a more just and equitable world for everyone. As I conclude, and as we reflect on our achievements and recognize the road ahead, let us also reaffirm our commitment to creating a world where all women and girls can exercise their rights fully, live free from discrimination, and have equal opportunities to succeed. This requires collaboration across governments, civil society, private sector, communities. Together, we can accelerate action and transform our shared vision into reality. Our collective actions today will define Uganda's tomorrow. When women lead, thrive, and participate fully, the entire nation prospers. Thank you very much, and happy International Women's Day.
Thank you so much, Ambassador of Sweden, for sharing with us your experience and how Sweden and the other Scandinavian countries have been able to achieve gender equality. Your Excellency, I would now wish to take the honor of inviting the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development to come and make her remarks. And as she comes, I recognize Madam Rathia Namakula. Rathia Namakula, I want to recognize you because you represented the Mufti of Uganda. abaikiriza mbaboine nimwija mpora abaikiriza okwahukana mwebare kuija mu bwingi woru a little dance as you come. Honorable Betty Amongi Ongom is showcasing her culture along with the masters of ceremonies, and she's dancing. Do you know what I know is piriri? I don't know what it means, but I enjoy the dance. Take the podium.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda and the First Lady, Honorable Mama Janet Museveni, Her Excellency the Vice President, the First Deputy Prime Minister, Right Honorable Rebecca Litwala Kadaga, the Third Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable the Vice Chairperson NRM, Honorable Ministers and Members of Parliament, Excellencies, Ambassadors, and High Commissioners, our kings, our chairpersons of all the women council from all the districts of Uganda, and the executive led by the chairperson, religious leaders, distinguished guests. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to this International Women's Day in Kyankwanzi District under the theme, Accelerating Action for Gender Equality. Your Excellency, this day came to Kyankwanzi because of lobbying from a very determined woman. This woman wrote to you last year asking for Women's Day to come to Kyankwanzi. However, we had already selected Eastern Uganda, and it was the turn for Eastern Uganda. We went to Katakwi. She still followed to ensure that this year, as we celebrate in Central, she brings all of us to Kyankwanzi. Please give a round of applause to the woman MP, Madam Christine Bukenya. She's not a simple lady. She really lobbied for it, and I want to thank her for bringing us here. Thank you very much. That is why we say, when you have strong women, I don't know how many times she came to my office to make sure that from last year up to today we are here. Thank you, Honorable, for hosting us. Your Excellency, it is women like this and many others seated here that we celebrate Women's Day, that we should celebrate the power, the leadership, and the resilience of women and girls. We take stock where we stand, and we recommit to accelerate gender equality for women and girls. In a special way, Your Excellency, we want to thank you for always attending and coming for Women's Day, but also supporting the Women Council chairpersons from their district to come and celebrate. And we are glad that the Women Council, who have been here since Monday, are going to go back comfortably. That one, Your Excellency, you have heard they have said that one. So thank you very much for that one. When we say that one, we know that one. Your Excellency, this day is very meaningful because it holds for women a day that we sit and reaffirm the commitment and take stock of what Uganda has done. And for that, I want to just highlight a few issues that we feel we are proud of as the people of Uganda, as the women of Uganda. And I want to start by saying that we have strengthened partnership and collaborations, especially increasing women's participation in leadership making at all levels. And these particular women in leadership, Your Excellency, you have played a key role in ensuring that women in leadership are accelerated by appointing women in various positions. And we start by seeing next to you, Your Excellency, the very humble Vice President of the Republic of Uganda, who is a woman. And you can see with her, she has uplifted other women, and every Women's Day, she carries with her a group of women called Visionary Women. You can see them in one uniform consistently every year under the stewardship of Her Excellency, the Vice President. Your Excellency, you have appointed the Prime Minister and 2 deputy prime ministers who are women. And I think we are so proud because for us who sit in cabinet, when we sit in cabinet, the front bench of cabinet is occupied by 4 women and 1 man. The 4 women is the Vice President, the Prime Minister, the First Deputy Prime Minister, the 3rd Deputy Prime Minister, then Moses Ali sits with them. And we are also proud and say, you also feel how it feels when you are alone there. So we always tell them, you keep feeling the men who are in the cabinet. And I want to really report to women that these women, the Vice President, when she's chairing cabinet, she has made all cabinet members proud, irrespective of whether they are men or women. So even now, the men in cabinet said, the Vice President and how she performs, don't look at her gender. She's capable. So when women are put in position of leadership, it's important that we perform so that the men will recognize that you are not there just because you are a woman. And it is now at this point that most of us, the Vice President, the Prime Minister, First Deputy Prime Minister, and cabinet ministers have made us proud that they sit in cabinet, they talk in cabinet, and fellow colleagues have now recognized that it is not just a token, it is that women can perform. Thank you very much, the women who sit in cabinet, for not letting down His Excellency on behalf of women. And statistically, there are 32 senior ministers, 14 of them are women, representing 44%, compared to 36% in 2016. Ministers of state, out of which 23 are women, constituting 46% of women as state ministers. And in parliament, we are also not doing badly. We have a total of 175 women, out of which those are the elected ones. We also have 14 who are appointed as ex officio. But the 170 are elected in parliament out of 557. So 146 of them came from affirmative action as district women members of parliament, and 16 through directly elected seats. And we now have a total of 34% of women in parliament. The local government level is a bit okay. It surpasses parliament. At local government level, we have 45.7% of women elected leaders. So it means at local government level, there are women. And this is important because most times, People keep saying, you the elite women, you the elite women, you are up here, you are not empowering the local women. We are now telling you that in Uganda, the local women are more represented at 45.7%, more than what you term as elite women. I think we need to congratulate ourselves as a country. We also have stronger laws ever before. I think Uganda is one of the countries with very many gender laws. We have the Constitution, we have the National Women's Council Act that has brought for us all the women here. We have the Equal Opportunities Act, we have, which deals with the issue of equal opportunities for all the women, girls, and marginalized. We have the Succession Act. The Succession Act is very important because it was just amended in 2022. Previously, you could not appoint a woman as an heir when you want to put a will. But the Succession Act, which we amended in 2022, now allows you to name your girl child as an heir. It used not to be the case, which is very important. Even women who had their own property could not name their daughters as their heir, but the 2022 Succession Act, it also provides for equal distribution of property in case somebody dies intestate, meaning when you die without a will. We have the Public Finance Management Act, which now mandates that Ministry of Finance, in consultation with Equal Opportunities, should issue what we call gender and equity certificate for any budget that passes Parliament. If you are not issued with that certificate, your budget will not be examined or approved in Parliament. We have the Land Act, which provides for the rights of women, and it defines matrimonial property. That matrimonial property means land or property where you derive sustenance. So if you're a woman in a rural area and you are with your husband and that is where your home is, the land where you also plow means that is where you derive sustenance. It is defined in the Land Act as matrimonial property or matrimonial land. A man cannot sell it or mortgage it without the consent of the wife. And I think this is very important. That's why you see in villages nowadays, all the banks, before they mortgage, they will go home and ask for consent of the wife. I think this for women has been very instrumental. We have the Domestic Violence Act, Prohibition of Female Genital Mutilation Act, to mention but a few. So we have made strides in laws. We have made strides in economic empowerment. You have already enumerated all the programs under the Ministry of Gender and Nationally. I do not want to repeat them, the PDM, Myoga, YLP, or WEP, GROW, I'm not going to mention, but to say we have made strides in areas of economic empowerment, but I want to congratulate the private sector for joining government in economic empowerment of women. The microfinance institutions and the banking sector has established products for women. If you go to Centenary Bank, you will get cheap capital, which is for women with flexible terms and flexible collateral condition. If you go to DFCU, you go to Finance Trust Bank and microfinance institution. Actually, the Bank of Uganda governor was telling us that if it were not for women, most of the microfinance institution would have collapsed, because majority of the microfinance and banking sector are lending to women, especially those lending at low income. So women are now a backbone to the financial sector lending businesses. So we want to thank the microfinance institution. In the world of work, we are proud that nowadays you walk into a bank, you are going to find women working in banks. You walk into a public service job, you will find women. Permanent secretaries in Uganda, we have 17 permanent secretaries who are women. We have CEOs. We have the head of service, public service, is a woman. So I think now, even in public service, people cannot say women cannot work, because the CEOs have shown that women can work and deliver. So we want to congratulate the Employment Act, also prohibits sexual harassment in the place of work, which now support women to work without worrying about gender-based violence in the space of work. We also have the justice sector, justice, law and order, where the DPP, together with Austrian government support, is having a program where all the cases of sexual gender-based violence is prioritized. And through that, they also have witness protection, so that when you do not want to testify in open courts, they can support you to give your evidence in camera. This has enabled the cases for domestic violence to the conviction rate, according to annual Uganda Police Crime Report, that the conviction rate has increased from 50% in 2016 to 64.7% in 2023-24. So the injustice, law and order, many perpetrators of gender-based violence are now facing justice, and women are no longer fearing the female genital mutilation. And here I really want to congratulate the two champions for female genital mutilation. Right Honorable Kadaga has been a champion to work to ensure that female genital mutilation in all the areas she has been organizing in Sebei, Karamoja, and in cabinet, always reminding Minister of Gender. And in the Minister of Gender, our champion is Honorable Dr. Peace Mutuzu, who has always been moving up and down to ensure that we deal with issues of female genital mutilation. And the statistic is also encouraging, because the female genital mutilation has reduced from 0.3% in 2016 to 0.2% in 2022. We also have joint program with UNFPA and other development partners like Netherlands, Sweden, Austria, Norway, and our ministry on issues around reducing gender-based violence under the Spotlight Project, which has also contributed to reduction in gender-based violence. We need to thank the Minister of Education. Mama, in your ministry, the Gender for Development of Uganda program and Skilling Uganda program and the Gender in Education policy has continued to mainstream gender in education, ending school-related gender-based violence, dealing with issue of water and sanitation for menstrual health and hygiene, and your program, which you brought to cabinet post-COVID. Post-COVID, Mama brought a program to support giving girls a second chance. That program enabled us to pass a policy that when a girl is pregnant and the pregnancy is not yet inconveniencing, the Ministry of Education will allow the girl to continue with her education. And after producing, will allow the girl to continue with her education. But also to allow girls who are pregnant to sit their exams, even if their pregnancy is now beyond 6 months. And I'm sure you have read how many girls have sat exam, some even delivered during exam, gone back home, came back and finished their exam. That is the work of the Minister of Education. I think let's give her a very big round of applause for always being steadfast in areas of education. In areas of health, we have reduced maternal health mortality ratio, which now stands at 189 per 100,000 live birth, which is a very tremendous progress. Reproductive health has been prioritized, adolescents' health has been prioritized, and we have women's specialized hospital, Mulago, and others that are being constructed to support women in maternal and reproductive health. Water and sanitation and social protection, public procurement and disposal of public assets as reserved affirmative action for women in business, that for all government contracts, they have given women, youth, and persons with disability a quota, that you are given that quota for you to apply for contracts in government and be able to undertake those. We now need to interest women in business, interest women in areas that can supply government to make use of the amendment in the Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Act. Your Excellency, these are a few examples. I note that there are many, many areas that we have made strides, and these strides we have made is not because we are strong as women. You have heard the representative from Sweden has said that even in our country, women have not progressed the way Ugandan women have progressed, especially in representation in leadership. Your Excellency, this has been #1 because of the political will. Without political will from you, Your Excellency, to appoint all the women seated near you and always doing the work so that women can see them as a role model, it will not be easy. The developed countries, even the USA, has not made even a half of the progress women in Uganda has made in leadership. Because we go there and we see them. If you see the cabinet in the US, if you see the Senate, if you see their Congress, you find they are below 20, they are below 10. So, Your Excellency, this affirmative action is important because it gives other women opportunity to see how the Vice President is doing, the Prime Minister, and all the ministers, and they will have a dream that they also want to be the Vice President of Uganda. And a woman, a girl who is studying will say, I can also be a Prime Minister. So those tokens and affirmative action is very critical in motivating young girls to study. And we want to thank you, Your Excellency, for all the appointments and the trust you have put on the women of Uganda. I also want to congratulate and thank the women, civil society, the women's movement, who continue to advocate, to speak, and really, for us within the political circle, all the laws I have talked about. Right Honorable Kadaga, when she was Deputy Speaker and Speaker of Parliament, galvanized us, would call civil society and ensure that she gives us space in the order paper, guide us to move those legislation, the Domestic Violence Act, FGM, and I know there are men whom she even brought on board, like Honorable Chris, who moved the female genital mutilations bill. It was the Right Honorable Kadaga who told Honorable Chris, please bring this as a man. I will mobilize women to support you. So when women are in a position of leadership and they bring for us such laws, we also congratulate them. And I want to really congratulate the women's movement for being steadfast and always supporting. Your Excellency, there are gaps that we continue to work on. Women in technology, as you are aware, access to internet to most women in rural area is still very low, and yet most services are now being rendered online. Payment of utilities, payment of umeme like water and all those, most services are now online. Access to internet is very important as a gap that we should bridge. We look at the cultural and norms that still makes women, especially early marriage, that culture is still very entrenched. And I want to thank the kings under their chairmanship of Isawa Ruli for the steadfast reforms that jointly under your forum you have initiated. Your Excellency, these kings have initiated a program that tries to ensure that they sit together and look at how to establish bylaws around their culture that supports positive culture for girls, and also to void cultures that subjugate girls, especially issues of child marriage. They are working with us. Gender-based violence, they are working with us, and many other areas. They are doing a positive work together with Interreligious Council in supporting us in reforming those laws. Of course, issues of poverty for women is very important. Access to land is still a problem, and enforcement of laws. When women go to report cases of violence, gender-based violence, sometimes the police family division will tell the woman, why don't you go and solve this problem at home? And so the institutions sometimes are still not very supportive, and they still look at some of the issues around gender-based violence as a family matter, not as a matter of law that should be solved by the state. So we continue to work together to ensure that we support and accelerate action. Your Excellency, I will now want to just conclude by giving you a few issues that were raised in two, because I presented a statement in Parliament, and also we had the National Women Council, and there are certain requests and resolutions they made. Let me start with Parliament. Parliament, this one is both Parliament and Women Council. The chairperson told you about the budget for National Women Council. During rationalization, the Ministry of Finance thought that the councils were rationalized. So they cut off the budget for the National Women Council, National Youth Council, National Council for Persons with Disability and Older Persons. So we used to give each district, through the National Women Council, 3 million for them to organize their Women's Day at their district. This money, because of the cut, it's not there. Both the women in Parliament and the women in the National Women Council are requesting, it's just about 500 million, that you direct finance to put it in the supplementary. They also celebrate their district Women's Day belatedly. So that is one of the areas that they have requested. If we put about 500 in a supplementary, they will be able to celebrate the belated Women's Day. The other issue which came from Parliament is the issue of sanitary pads. Your Excellency, I explained in Parliament that our economy cannot support distribution of free sanitary pads to all the girls in school. When I explained, Parliament requested that can we now look at the issue of removing tax on sanitary pads so that the cost of buying sanitary pads can reduce, now that they can understand that distribution for free will be difficult. So this is also a request on the issue of removing tax on sanitary pads so that the cost reduces. The Women Council also asked that we remind you that you had pledged for them to visit your farm. Most of them are people in agriculture, they still want to visit the farm. And they say a lot of them are interested in learning from you and your farm, so that they also take a lead and they empower themselves economically. Lastly, Your Excellency, in Parliament, the issue of peaceful election also came up, where some women members of Parliament indicated that when election is violent, many women shy away from joining politics. And so one of the issues raised is that we make election non-violent so that many women can join election. Your Excellency, I want to conclude and express my gratitude to you for being the champion, the #1 male champion for women's empowerment. If it were not you to stand firm to empower women, it would be difficult. So we want to thank you for your visionary leadership. And with that, Uganda stand tall. And when we go to report in international conferences, and our Minister of State is leaving tonight to go to New York, and in New York from Monday to 21st, countries are supposed to report progress they have made. And in many cases, most of the countries struggle to have women ministers to go and speak in their session because of the progress we have made in Uganda. So at international level, Your Excellency, the record of Uganda on women's empowerment is very strong on leadership and on economic empowerment. So I want to thank you for being our champion, and to women, we must march forward. We must not be paralyzed by the gaps and setbacks. We must push with resolve. We build on the progress we have made and accelerate action for gender equality. With that, Your Excellency, I want to thank you, and I would have loved to invite you, Your Excellency. But it would be very unfair when we are saying you have elevated women up to the level of vice president, and she sits there, and now I'm inviting you. I'm just requesting you, Your Excellency, that allow me to invite Her Excellency, the Vice President, to kindly invite you to make your speech.
Your Excellency, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda, Mama Janet Kataha Museveni, the First Lady and the Minister of Education and Sports, the Right Honorable Alhaji Chigongo, the First National Vice Chairperson of NRM, the Right Honorable Alitwala Kadaga, the First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Affairs, Right Honorable Rukia Nakadama, the Third Deputy Prime Minister and Minister without portfolio, colleagues, ministers present, colleagues, members of Parliament, the UN representative, the EU representative, Excellencies, the ambassadors, members of the Diplomatic Corps, the National Chairperson of the Women Council, Hajat Farida, and all women leaders, the religious leaders, cultural leaders, all invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let us welcome His Excellency the President to our International Women's Day 2025 here in Kyankwanzi with a loud hand clap. Your Excellency, thank you for allowing me to make a small statement, and then I invite you to speak. Your Excellency and Mama, I congratulate you and all the people of Uganda on the commemoration of the International Women's Day 2025, and I wish you blissful celebrations. This year's theme is Accelerate Action for Gender Equality. The theme reflects an insight on what the NRM government has done and continues to do in uplifting and empowering all the women of Uganda under the visionary leadership of Your Excellency. Through your strategic and visionary leadership, Your Excellency, the women of Uganda are the biggest beneficiaries of the prevailing conducive environment for growth, including peace and security, infrastructural development, energy or electricity availability for obvious reasons, etc., etc. And as women, Your Excellency, we shall always be grateful for the policies and government laws that have enabled Uganda to come this far. And to that end, the women are comfortably participating in the livelihood programs of government, like the ones which the minister named, of PDM, Emioga, the GROW project, the Women Fund, the Fund for People with Disability, the grants for the elderly, etc., etc. Women now own property and are engaged in business sector, creating wealth and jobs. Women are in administration and management in both the private sector and government, participating in the socio-economic transformation of the country together with their male counterparts. Women are in political leadership positions right from the villages up to the national level. An opportunity, Your Excellency, which has given women a voice, which has enabled us to be heard, and also enabled us to participate in strategic decision-making processes, including budgeting at all levels, where we have ensured that all government programs and projects are mainstreamed in light of gender and other special interest needs. Your Excellency, all the girl children in Uganda are now enrolling in schools under the universal primary education and universal secondary education, etc. This has enabled women to pursue programs which were hitherto considered to be a preserve for the boy children, e.g. being pilots. We now have women who are pilots, even in the Air Force, engineers, chemists, and generally speaking, armed forces. Your Excellency, for the benefit of doubt, the parade that we witnessed here today was exclusively mounted by the females, by the women. And I would like to thank you as the Commander-in-Chief, together with all the leaders in the Army, for the professionalism with which you have carried our armed forces. Women are also benefiting from the healthcare system which has kept us physically fit to continue contributing to the social, economic transformation of our country in all fields. Your Excellency, you have laid an unprecedented and formidable platform or foundation for the women of Uganda, and indeed all the people of Uganda. And again, to this end, therefore, I would like, on behalf of all the people of Uganda, to say that we commit to continue to stand firm under your visionary leadership, and specifically as women of Uganda, would like to commit to continue listening to your strategic guidance as we continue carrying forward the vision and the mission of NRM, where again, Your Excellency, you are the national chairman. I request all the men of Uganda to continue supporting women in this endeavor to collectively develop our country. Your Excellency, women empowerment means women working together with the men. And would like the men of Uganda to continue understanding the women and the concept of gender parity so that we can continue carrying it forward to the logical conclusion for the good of all of us. Your Excellency, I would like to end by thanking you for physically finding time to come here to preside over this celebration. And I would also like to extend my appreciation to you for always recognizing the efforts of women and for the continuous guidance. And in the same vein, I would like to thank Mama for always honoring the interests of women. Thank you for your invaluable support to Muzei and the entire First family. We do sincerely appreciate. Thank you for your dedicated service in the education sector, a sector so vast that keeps developing challenges all the time. Thank you for the steadfast attention that you have extended therein. The good results that you are producing with the team there are visible, and I want to state that you have our full support, Mama. Let me now use this chance to remind all the women of Uganda, and indeed all the people of Uganda, since we work together, that very soon we shall again be exercising our rights, i.e. to elect our leaders across the country. I request that we throw all our weight behind His Excellency, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, as our president in the 2026 election, just 9 months from now. Let us support all the NRM candidates for the smooth continuation of the good programs and projects, and for the stability of our country, not forgetting the unfinished business which the Honorable Minister of Gender was speaking about, in order to fully achieve gender parity. But Your Excellency, we sincerely appreciate you as a champion of gender emancipation, women emancipation. In the whole of Africa, you are known as the first president ever who named a woman as a vice president in the whole of Africa. And all the African leaders, wherever you send me, hold you in very high esteem. And I would like also to let Ugandans know that His Excellency the President is a champion of integration at the African Union. And whenever he sends me to represent him there, his friends, his brothers, his colleagues, the fellow presidents, always send me with a strong message to all of you Ugandans that we have a president whose intellect, whose vision, whose wisdom and a love for Africa is unmatched. I thought that I would use this opportunity also to tell you that. Finally, Your Excellency, the visionary women go everywhere to do charity work whenever there is Women's Day. For this particular Women's Day, they had requested me that when you get in case you get a chance to speak, we would like to take a photo with Mama. But I had argued with them that if Muzei allows, then you can take a photo with Mama and Muzei. So, Your Excellency, at your convenience, you may wish to make, Your Excellency and Mama, at your convenience, you may wish to make that consideration. But let me now take this singular honor and privilege to invite Your Excellency to deliver your address. The floor is yours, sir.
Her Excellency the Vice President, all the other leaders, political, cultural, religious, military, and all the wananchi of Kyankwanzi. I will mix speaking in Uganda and in English also. I will say. Okusooka nantabuulirwa yakola ki?
Asaabala gwa bbumba.
Nantabuulirwa yasaabala na bwa bbumba. Twabagamba dda nti okwonoona obutonde bw'ensi kigenda okutuviiramu akabenje. Kati mulaba omusana guno gw'amaanyi nnyo omukambwe. Guvudde wa? Nantabuulirwa. Tubadde tubagamba muleme okugenda mu ntobazi, muleme okulumba ebibira, muleme okwonoona ennyanja, naye mbadde mulowooza nti byakusaaga. Kati mulaba omusana engeri gye gukambuwaddemu. N'olwekyo tulina okukyusa enkola yaffe. Tuseemu ekitiibwa obutonde bw'ensi. Katonda yali amanyi kyali akola, ogamba nti luno lutobazi, eno nyanja, guno muga, kino kibira. N'olwekyo ffe okuwakanya Katonda nsobi y'amaanyi. I told these people there is a Uganda proverb where somebody was advised not to use clay to make a boat for using on the water. People told him that clay cannot make a boat. but he didn't listen. He made a clay. He made a boat made of clay, and he went in the lake and drowned there. So I was telling them that damaging the environment will cause us a very big catastrophe. And you can see how harsh this dry season is. It is not only here, it is in other parts of Africa, but I think it is accentuated by the damage to the environment here, because normally, although there is African-wide bad weather, normally here we get our local relief because of the local water bodies. So eyo nsonga emu. Eyokubiri, njagala kwebaza ambassador wa Sweden kubanga y'omu ku bantu ab'amazima. Abantu abangi tebabeera b'amazima. Ono omukyala kirangiridde wano ati mu democracy mutusingira ddala wala. Akyogedde wano mu Luzungu. Ate kye mbadde mbagamba babadde bagezako okungamba democracy, ne mbagamba nti nze mbasingira ddala wala. Musirike. Kubanga bino bye tukola wano awalala tebiriiyo. Nti waliwo entebe y'abakyala buli district tekiriiwo mu bifo ebisinga obungi. I congratulated the ambassador of Sweden for admitting that Uganda is more democratic than many of the European countries. And this is what we have been telling them, because for us, it was an ideology from the beginning. When we were empowering women, it was deliberate from the very beginning. When we defeated Idi Amin, 1979, I recruited women for NASA. But when it came to the integration, our other partners in the system refused to absorb our women. And they had to be dismissed and go home. We brought them back when we were in charge now, 86. That's when we were able to admit them in the army. So I'm glad the ambassador of Sweden set the record straight by saying that Uganda has made more progress on women emancipation in some areas than many of the European countries. Ekyokusatu lwe lugero naye sinatuuka ku lugero olwo. Nina abakazi b'ebiti bisatu abambadde okumpi mu bulamu bwange. Asooka ye maama wange yanzaala, Esther Kokundeka. Omukyalo oyo yali ng'abantu baffe bwe bali kati mu byalo, yeetikanga amazzi kuva ku luzzi, yagendanga mu nsiko okunoonya enku, yakozesanga emikono okulongoosa awaka, yatuweeka bwe twali tukyali bato, yafumbisanga enku n'omukka n'ebyo byonna. Oyo omukyala ne mulaba. Kati oluvannyuma ne nfuna omukyala omulala, ye maama Janet. n'abawala bange kati abo obulamu bwabwe bwanjawulo okuva ku maama Janet oyo gwe omulaba tafumbisanga nku eby'omukka tabimanyi tagenda nga ku luzzi okwetika amazzi abaana bano abakuze bamuhozi n'abaganda be tabaweekanga twabasindikanga mu bugaali amazzi ga payipu yegaleeta ne bwe twali mu bwanganguse bwe twali mu kulwana n'Amin wadde twali mu nsi z'ebweru naye obulamu bwaffe bwali bwanjawulo okuva ku bamaama kati okuva ku ntandikwa kyetwagaliza omukyalo Munnayuganda twagala abeere nga Janet mwena kubanga omukka ogwo gwe mufumbisa butwa gubeereyo n'omukka gwomwe abasawo bayinza kubanyonyola ebiri mu mukka n'obuzibu obulala bwonna kati okuva ku ntandikwa movement yaffe yali buli omukyalo Munnayuganda abeere nga Janet okwawukana n'obulamu bwa maama Esteri naye ate twabagamba engeri gye tusobola okukituukako okubeera nga Janet okituukako otya oyinza kusabiriza nobeera nga Janet tekisoboka olina okumanya okuwuliriza NRM byekugamba okukola ebintu bibiri oba bisatu ekisooka bonna bagagawere gye tubagamba kati myaka 3 tuli ku kigambo ekyo bonna bagagawale batya twabagamba nti mukolere muleme okukola ekidda kyonka ng'abantu abo abavamu waliwo omuntu omugwere wano omugwere aludda wa agende ku muzindaalo si kabaka w'abagwere kabaka w'abagwere naye ali wano naye oyo sagala kumusitula naye abagwere amalala namuyangwa njagala wa Women Council Women Council aludda wa Women Council agenze genda otumula olugwere oyo mukkiriza atumula olugwere tumula olugwere obuuze ku bantu bano amayina
neyanzire muzeeyi zebanjeta Stima Helen Muluga nga nzera Budaka district
tumula olugwere bawulire
banje tasima Heleni omuzebula atumulangaku atwa reference atutukolera kida lwaki atumulecho isenga bukedi tuula kitu kileta sente chetuli nacho tulianga oli tobe muzako batukolera kida
muyinza kuri olumi lw'omwana oyo byayogala miwulira namu yangu bakyusize namu yangu.
Your Excellency, she's telling us that whenever you've been speaking, you've been advising us to work for incomes in our homes, not just to work for the stomach.
Very good. Okuva kale mwebale ino muwala. Okuva kyenda mukaaga kyenda mwetaano twatandika okubasomesa nti okugagawala bona bagagawale mulina okuva kukola olubuto lwokka okulya kwokka mukolera olubuto wamu n'ensawo ate okukola ekimunateeka mu nsawo mulina okukozesa ekibalo kati bwe nagenda Bugwere nababuuza mu lulimi lwabwe omulinyankole wandigambye nti okukorera enda yonka kati baba Bagwere bagamba nti okukorera ekidda kyonka enjogera y'Abagwere najagala nnyo okukorera ekidda ekibuto kyokka kati omumanifesto yakyenda mu mukaaga twabagamba twabawabula abalina ettaka ettono ebintu 7 ika emu y'emmwanyi ika y'ebibala ika y'omuddo gw'ente ez'omu kiyumba ika y'emmere eyawaka emanju teekayo enkoko z'amaggi teekayo embizi kumpi n'entoba ziteekayo ebyennyanja abo be bantu ab'amataka amatono abakolera awafunda ab'amataka amanene bo baddembe okukola kye baagala bw'abalimye kasooli oba ebikajjo oba pamba kyonna kyabakoze wadde afuna katono buliika kubanga akoze wagazi aganyulwa kati omulayini eyo ey'okukola olubuto n'ensawo oli omukyala owawaka n'abaana bebazadde bagenda kufuna sente amakaago bwe bafuna sente na gavumenti bwe batanaleeta amazzi aga national water kubanga balina enyingiza bayinza kulembeka amazzi kuva ku kasolya ne bafuna amazzi ago mu tanki yaabwe awatali kulinda gali aga Kampala bayinza kugula sola oba bayinza kukola biogas okuva mu nte kati oyo agenda kufaanana nga Mama Janet amazzi ng'akulembeka okumulisa kwa sola okufumba kwa biogas yensonga tubadde tubawabula ebyo byonna kati bwe twabasomesa olwo batubuuza nti tutandika tutya bye mwogera tubiwulidde naye tutandika tutya twatandikirawo ne tuteeka ssente kugombolola ze twayitanga entandikwa. Esente ezo zajja kugombolola naye abantu tebafaayo, abamu bazibba. Ate mwe bannannyini kintu temufaayo kubanga ensobi z'abantu babiri, omubbi waali naye naawe nannyini kintu tofuddeyo kukirondoola. Kati eyo ne tuvaayo ne tufuna NADS ne tukyusaamu ne tuleeta Operation Wealth Creation. Eyo netambulako bulungi naye ogenda okuwulira oluvannyuma mwatandika okugamba nti beegabira bokka. Kati awo kwe kukyusa ne tugamba nti okay, kati esente zino mwekolere mwekka PDM, esente zize kumuluka mwekoleko. Naye kati mpuliramu nti abamu baba sente ezo mwe ne musirika ne babakanga. Oyagamba ki jangu wano oyogere? Oba waliwo kyagamba ajje wanaswaze sitaani. Ababbi bali ludda wa jangu baloope mu lwatu. Mbaleke bajje. Ogamba kimuwala?
Owekitiibwa Pulezidenti, abakyala mwena tubasanyukidde okubalaba olwaleero. Maama Janet nkwaniriza nnyo. Amannya gange mpitibwa Mukaye Betty, eri obufuzi nze Maama Janet Museveni. Maama Janet yatudde senior 4 n'afuna 5 n'afuna ne binnya, yagenze mu senior 5. Maama yayise eyo nvuddeyo. Muzeeyi weebale kutuleetera nkulaakulana, naye taata buli kyoleeta bakitwala.
Siwulidde bulungi kiddemu.
Muzeeyi weebale kutuleetera nkulaakulana, naye taata buli kyoteekawo bakitwala. Taata esente ez'abakyala ze baatugamba nti tetuzaayo magoba zino ze baateeka mu sentinale simanyi ne mu banka ki twagenda okutuukayo nga teziriiyo nga baazitutte zonna. Muzeeyi paaliishi modo nze ndi mukyala wa movement simanyi na gyali.
Ze sente za grow
baazimala mudda mu banka zonna baazitwala abakyala abali mu buyinza abali mu bifo eby'amaanyi baazigabana ne bazitwala. Teri mukyala yafuna sente ezo buzeeyi. Muzeeyi ebintu birina okukyukamuuko. Muzeeyi ebintu bikyukamuuko ekisanja kino. Ebintu eby'obubbi bikendeezebweko taata. Abantu bakwate.
Kale ezo za
taata madde nsaba taata maliriza sijja kwogera bingi naye manyiri oba bananzita simanyi naye nsaba taata ngende mbuuzeeko ku maama eddakiika emu taata
kale njagala bafune contract yo ezo sente za grow ze mwogerako
taata
kati eza PDM ziri zitya
ate ezo bazituuse bulala
ezo ziri zitya
ezo bazituuse taata bulala teziriiyo okujjako bazitwala mu bitundu ebirala ng'ewa Nabbanja mu bantu abakulu abakulembeze be batyatyako waliwo abafunye naye waliwo ebitundu nga tebafuniddeeko ddala muzeeyi
waliwo abazibba
sebo taata abazitwala baziwa be baagala
baani
baziwa be baagala sebo
baziwa be baagala
yesebo buli muntu awandiika famire ye oleeta endaga muntu n'amugamba gw'oli luddawa leeta endaga muntu yo w'Emasaka afunira na Luweero
naye okay kale muwandiike munfunire namba y'omukyalo oyo ayagala kubuuza ku maama jangu buuze ku maama
maama taata neyanziza sebo
naye yimirirako wala tomusiiga korona Mama mwishina ndakuteze newe kishani mama kati okwagala okunyonyola bulungi kanjogere mu Luzungu nankabirwa ankyusize nankabirwa ali awo genda waliwo nkyusize you go there but
Your Excellency mbadde wendi wano taata
Bukenya
Your Excellency
kale Bukenya now my daughter here was speaking about two things
muwala we abadde ayogera ku bintu bibiri
she was talking about the money of grow
abadde ayogera ku sente za grow mwena abakyala ze muwulira mu bank
that is money which came from World Bank or from outside
ezo sente ezaava mu nsi z'owabweru gye bayita World Bank
they lent it to us
ne bazituwola
to give it to our people
tuzibawe ate era okwewola kuba kwakuzaayo nga government.
The good thing is that the minister is here.
Ekirungi minisita waali atwala grow.
Betty Amongi.
Minister Betty Amongi.
I will call her, she will explain there.
Ajja kuja anyonyole ensonga eyo.
But the money which is the other money is also ours because we borrowed it.
Naziri sente zaffe kubanga twazeewola.
But the money from our own budget, which is not of borrowing,
naye sente ze tuteewola eziva mu mbalirira yaffe ya Uganda
is the money of the PDM.
Ze sente za PDM mwenna ze mumanyi.
The PDM money
sente za PDM
is money sent to you.
Sente za PDM ze sente ze babaweereza ku miruka.
All people who want to engage in wealth creation who are above 18.
Buli muntu ayagala okwenyigira mu byenkulaakulana ng'alina emyaka 18 ne waggulu.
Should join the circle of the parish.
akkirizibwa okwegatta ku ssaako y'omuluka.
And once you are all there,
Era mwenna bwe muba mu ssaako eyo,
you elect
mulonda
the ones you want.
mulonda abantu be mwagala.
There you are the ones who elect them.
Mwe mubeerondera.
Their job is just coordination.
Omulimu gwabwe kukwasaganya.
So therefore, if they are unfair,
Era bwe baba nga si batuufu,
you remove them.
Mubaggyako ne muteekako abalala.
Because this is your money.
Kubanga zino ssente zammwe n'obuyinza bwammwe.
So therefore,
Era ensonga eyo,
the line which my daughter is saying that they only give their relatives,
omukyalo oli mwayogedde nti bawa be baagala, ab'eŋŋanda,
I would like to wake you up.
abazuukusa pulezidenti waffe omulungi,
Mbagamba nti sente ezo zammwe,
ssente zammwe ezo,
busika bwammwe,
busika bwammwe obwo bwa PDM.
jjajja wamwe gavumenti ya Uganda ebalambidde sente ezo nti zino zammwe.
Jjajja weebale, jjajja wammwe gavumenti ya Uganda ebagambye ssente zammwe, mutafaayo mwe mufiirwa.
Kati jjajja bw'akulamira ebyobusika,
Jjajja waakulamira ebyobusika,
n'osirika omu ku baganda bo n'ayonoona ebintu byammwe, awo omusango guba gwani? Put it in better Uganda.
Jjajja waakulamira n'akuwa ssente, n'olaba ng'okwatibwa ensonyi olw'okuba atwala ssente muganda wo, olwo omusango gwani nga gw'ofiirwa nga tofunye ssente?
Kulwaki mukwatibwa ensonyi kwabo ababba ebyobusika bwammwe?
Lwaki mukwatibwa ensonyi ng'abantu babba ebyammwe gavumenti byebawadde okukozesa okweggya mu bwavu?
Muddamu mutyawo. Ani akiddamu ekyo?
Ani akiddamu ekyo?
Kubanga obuyinza bwammwe
oba mbadde temukimanyi, His Excellency ababuulira obuyinza bwammwe bwa ssente za PDM ze mufuna ku miruka, n'ozikuuma yemmwe kubanga ssente zaasembera gye muli mu miruka.
The other programs, that's why we changed them.
Programu ezaaliwo, enteekateeka eyaliwo endala, kyekyo lwaki yagikyusa?
Because the entandikwa, the NADZ, Operation Wealth Creation, the ones who were deciding were government agents.
Bakyusa ne bajjawo entandikwa, NADZ, Operation Wealth Creation, kubanga byo gavumenti eyali ebiri mu mitambo.
Abakozi ba gavumenti
abakozi be baali babirimu mu mitambo okusinga.
They were the ones who were deciding.
Be baali basalawo.
That's why we said now you organize yourselves, all adults in the parish.
Kati kyekyo lwaki basalawo nti mu miruka gyammwe mwetereeze, musobole okulonda abakulembeze, musobole okukwata ssente zammwe nga muzikontrolling.
All adults who want to engage in wealth creation join the circle.
Buli ayagala okubanga ayagala okulwanyisa okugenda mu kweddaabulira yegatte mu ssaako.
Once you join, then you elect.
Wogenda mu ssaako nga mulonda.
The Kachiko is simply to coordinate you, but following what has been guided by the government.
Akakiiko kabayamba buyambi okubabuulira ekigenda mu maaso, naye nga obuvunaanyizibwa obusinga buli ku mmwe abali mu ssaako.
So why do you keep quiet and people play around with you when you have the power?
Lwaki musirika abantu ne babazanyirako ng'ate obuyinza buli mu mmwe mu ngalo zammwe?
Ani anakiddamu ekyo bannange?
Wano aliwo taata.
Ali luddawa?
Mukadde Nanvubya woono.
Amannya gange ndi Nanvubya Esther. Kabaka yasiima n'ampesa zalye nga bulungi bwansi. President nkwebaza. Naye PDM eyina weetekolera bulungi olw'ensonga tugambye nti ssente ezo Paris modo. Ate ow'omuluka taziriimu. Zaalekebwamu akakiiko. Bw'ogenda ogamba ow'omuluka oli ssente nga yazinywedde. Asiiba mu bbaala ng'agamba nze sibiriimu babisambala. Saba President, twagala ensonga eyo eruŋŋame. Ssente engeri gye ziva waggulu ne bwe zikka wansi. Kubanga n'abantu abaziriko obutuufu tebabamanyi. Bwe bagenda okugenda ku ssako oli n'amugamba nti ffe twakola dda ssako yaffe. Sooka oleete ssente ze twakozesa ssako. Owulidde? Saba President, ebintu biruŋŋamye bulungi.
Okay, now I can see where amanya omukadde muganda wange ani?
Navubya Esteri omulwanyi ndi Palasoso waaka era akoledde emirimu okuva 88 ndera abatalina mwasirizi obutabanguko mu maka ndi mediator. Katonda abeere naawe.
Kati Mama Esteri, now Mama Esteri, gendo tuwele mama. Now Mama Esteri is saying
Mama Esteri agamba
that a small group of people
nti abantu abatono
say they have formed a circle.
Bagamba bakoze sako yaabwe.
And that anybody who wants to join them must pay to join the circle.
Nti omuntu yenna ayagala okwegatta ku sako nti naawe ofune PDM sente bagamba sasula.
The circles of PDM
sako za PDM bye byemukola eyo wansi mu muluka sako ezo
don't have any payment, if I remember correct.
Teyina kusasula kwonna wansi eyo gye mubeera.
Do we have the PDM people here? Who is here?
Tuyinawo abantu abakwatagana ku bintu bya PDM wano we tuli. Kawuwa for Kyankwanzi wunajja, Your Excellency.
His Excellency, Yenze Judy Makabu Kenya, Ekiro Ky'Abakazi, His Excellency.
This idea of paying to join the circle, where did it come from?
Ensonga yo, His Excellency, ey'abantu okusasula ssente mu Kyankwanzi wano twakigobawo naye nga kisinga nnyo okubeera mu basaako members bennyini abo era abadde bakikozesa tubasiba oba ne bakomyawo ssente ezo.
Because, okay, gendo tuwele. The circle we told you to form
Sako ze babagamba okukola
had no payment.
Teyayina kusasulwa kwonna.
Because those circles of payment had been there and had not solved the problem.
Kubanga sako z'okusasula zaaliwo ne zilemwa okukola omulimu gwe yeetaaga, His Excellency.
So we said, you just form your circle because you are in that parish.
N'agamba mukole saako eyo kubanga muli mu muluka gumu.
And you want to participate in wealth creation.
Ate mwagala kwegatta mu bantu abejja abagala okwegatta mu bagenda mu nkulaakulana.
So no need for payment.
Era nga tewali nsonga lwaki abantu basasula.
The money we were giving you to start your circle was our money.
Sente ze baabawa okutandika saako zaali za gavumenti.
100 million.
Million 10.
Every year.
Buli mwaka ate buli saako.
So,
era ensonga eyo
you don't pay back, and you get 1 million, you don't get less.
Ate oyina kufuna miliyoni emu nga tofunye zitolebbwako.
The banks were deducting some money for the bank charges.
Banka zaali zijjako ssente nga bagamba charges za banka.
We have stopped that.
Ekyo yakiyimiriza His Excellency nti banka teziddako basalako ssente.
The government will be the one to pay the bank charges.
Atweyanza Your Excellency agambye bank charges government ejja kuba ezisasula.
You must get your 1 million.
Mulina okufuna miliyoni yammwe ennamba.
And now,
era kati
after 2 years,
oluvannyuma lw'emyaka ebiri,
when you got 1 million,
ng'ofunye miliyoni emu,
you pay back 1,120,000.
osasula miliyoni emu mu emitwalo 12.
After 2 years.
Oluvannyuma lw'emyaka ebiri, miliyoni emu ogyongerako emitwalo 12.
So that's how the circle now starts operating.
Awo sako bwetandika okutwambula.
To bring back the ones who got first.
Okukomeza ne bazzaayo abaasooka okufuna.
So now, the ones who say they have formed a circle, you must pay them. Abo babbi.
Abo abaga nti bakoze saako nti mulina obbasasula bafuuse babbi.
But the question is, why should that confusion go on and the leaders don't detect it?
Ekibuuzibwa lwaki ebyo bibaawo ng'ate abakulembeze weebali.
RDC, where is the RDC? RDC.
Ajja.
Yes, Your Excellency.
What's your name?
My name is Ankunda Sharon.
So all this is happening. Why have you heard about it?
Yes, please. Nakiwuliddeko and we are trying to handle. Tuli mugezaako kukitereeza, Your Excellency.
Mwakiwuliddeko ne mukikolako oba?
Tuli mu kukikolako, Your Excellency.
Mwakikolako?
Twakikolako, Your Excellency.
Navakoba, you come and explain. Genda wali. Genda olereza RDC. Navakoba afuse pulida wa RDC.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency watukwasa omulimu ne Honorable Nankabirwa okujja okumonitoringa PDM mu Greater Mbende. Omulimu guno nagukolako mu January, natambula district stan eza Greater Mbende, and I came physically to Kyankwanzi. Your Excellency, when nasinkana abakulembeze, of course mwalimu ebirumira, naye kye nasanga PDM Secretariat yabadde wano either a month ago oba a week ago, nga balina abantu abamu bebazuula nga badde babbako abantu ssente oba okujja ku bantu ssente, era abantu abo balina n'obukadde nga 45 nga buli ku police station nga exhibit, nga balinda PDM Secretariat ejje bukwase abantu abali bajiddwako ensimbi ezo. Era n'ekirala kye nasanga nga waliwo n'abalala kirabika kyali wano abaali batandise n'okuzaayo obukulembeze nga batidde olw'okuba baali batandise okubanyeenya mu kyenvudde nga nti waliwo ekyali kikoleddwako kubanga naliko wano, Your Excellency.
Okay, so now that's how Mnyankole says.
Awo Omnyankole wagamba
otaruhunga emitinde otakarebera ekigikolatire
nga tonnadduka misinde odduka emisinde.
Don't run away from
todduka nga tonnalaba kigoba.
When you hear steps behind you, don't run without looking back and see where the steps are coming from.
Todduka nga tolabye ekigoba gye kiva.
Because you may find it is just
kubanga oyinza okusanga nga
it is just a hen,
nga nkoko, nga munya, nga kawuka.
That's what you have run away from.
Nga ate kyodduka.
So you people, those thieves are nothing.
Era abo ababbi temuli.
You can stop them.
Musobola obbayimiriza, obbalemesa.
The money is yours.
Sente zammwe.
You are in the circle.
Muli mu saako.
All of you.
Mwenna.
All adults in a parish who want to engage in wealth creation.
Mwenna abakulu abali mu saako abagala okwegatta mu nkulaakulana.
You are the one to elect the committee.
Mwe muyina okulonda abakulembeze ba saako.
So if they say we have already formed the circle, you ask them why didn't you call all of us?
We musanga nga bakola dda saako nga bagamba ffe twakola dda leetayo ssente obabuuza lwaki temwatuyita ffenna ne twegattamu luli.
And the Muruka chief, Estate is talking about the one who is drunk.
Omuluka chief, Madam Esther gwabadde ayogerako.
The one who is in drinking alcohol.
Abazinywa obunyi.
Saying that he's not involved.
Nga ye yeegaana ntabiriimu.
No, he's an ex-official member of, I think.
Yes.
He's an ex-official member of the committee.
Muluka chief aba yeegaanira bwereere kubanga be bali ku committee.
He's the one to make sure that the rules of the circle are followed.
Yalina okulaba nti etteeka lya saako gagobererwa.
And if not, he should report.
Era nga walaba nti ebitambudde bulungi omuluka chief oyo alina okuloopa.
So Susan Kasinje, talk to Esteri. Let's find out that Muruka chief who said 3 quarters ago.
Kati Susan yogera ne Esteri akubulire bulungi ow'omuluka oyo yagamba tebinkwatako.
So that is on the PDM.
Ebyo biri ku PDM.
PDM is yours.
PDM yammwe mukimanye leero.
Even when you pay back, the money will be in your circle forever.
Era ne munaddamu okusasula sente zijja kusigala mu saako yammwe kubanga ziri mu akawunti yammwe.
It will never go back to Kampala again.
Tezijja kuddayo Kampala.
So don't allow anybody to steal your money.
Era temukkiriza ababatawaanya ababa babbira sente kubanga babba sente zammwe.
Now let me ask Amongi to come and talk about grow. Amongi, where is she?
Thank you, Excellency. Excellency, GROW is into two products. One is implemented under Ministry of Gender and one under Private Sector Foundation. The one that members have consistently raised issues on is the one of the loan, and I have here Dr. Ruth Kasolo, who will tell us the banks that are giving GROW loans, the conditions the banks are giving, and then I will talk about what we are going to do to ensure that it reaches every district beginning April.
Your Excellency, as Honorable Minister Monk indicated, Uganda, Your Excellency, GROW projects eriko components ey'okugabira abakyala loans. Your Excellency, sente zino eza World Bank. Ekisooka kye njagala okularifyinga nti si loan ku government ne World Bank yawa government ya Uganda grant. Neesaba nga bakolagana ne government tutandikewo enkola ey'okuwa abakyala ssente nga bazeewola naye nga zisobola okudda wabeerewo ensako ey'abakyala. Programu eno Your Excellency bwe yali etandika teyatunulira mukyala wa PDM oba ow'emyoga. Yatunulira omukyala asobodde okuba nti eyavaayo naye nga kati ayagala okutandika okwetengerera bizinensi yeebeere nga esobola okuba nti yeetengerera nga mu luzungu bagamba nti from informal to either small or medium enterprise. Your Excellency, nga tutandika pilot yaffe nga tukola ne World Bank, twasalawo sente zisooke zigende mu banks, tukozese banks mu kusooka. Era ne tulonda banks 6, ne tulonda Stanbic Bank, Post Bank, Finance Trust Bank, Centenary Bank, DFCU ne Equity. Your Excellency, nga tukwatagana ne banks zino kubanga twabawa sente naye nga tubagambye nti bwe tuba tukuwadde sente bilioni 2 oyina kuza bilioni 2 ke kakwakirizo gavumenti ke yateeka ku banks ezo. N'olwekyo ne batusaba nti balina okukozesa emitendera gyabwe nga bawola sente zino. N'olwekyo ffe twakwata sente Your Excellency wenjogerera kati yes nga balina okukozesa emitendera gyabwe okuwola sente zino.
Yali nsobi.
Kaakati yo
lindako omukunja. Kubanga sente zaffe kati oli wa banka ngamba atya nti genda kozesa emitendera gyange. Songa sente zange.
Your Excellency, nga bw'ogambye ensobi gye twakola tetwaba kibayita guarantee fund era tugenda kikolako naye twabateekako obukwakkulizo ti bwabeera nga bawoze sente zino balina ziwolera ku 10% amagoba abakyala era wenjogerera kati Your Excellency bakawola bilioni 5 era abakyala bakafuna sente bali 2,175. Ekyakabi Your Excellency nti district eno ey'Ekyankwanzi yakafunamu omuntu omu yekka mu bakyala bano era kituufu abakyala banyiige kubanga Kyankwanzi nga district tefunye nnyo naye Your Excellency tukoze eki mbadde nsaba abakyala bampulirize kye tusazeewo okukola nga Ministry of Gender etuwa obuwabuzi twasazeewo tuleeteyo SACCOs ne MDIs ezisobola okugabira abakyala sente nga tebalina misingo era mu myezi 2 zino zijja kuba nga zitandise. Your Excellency, zino zijja kuba zisobola okuwa abakyala sente nga bo bennyini beewadde garanti nga tubawadde musingo naye omuntu eyatuwa sente enkolagana yaffe ne World Bank looni esembayo wansi ya milioni 4. So ndowooza ekyo nsobodde okukola kino olwekyo abakyala ab'Ekyankwanzi ate ekirala Your Excellency mu cabinet mwasalawo ti sente zino tuzalocatinge ku regions era wenjogerera kano Your Excellency regions 19 kubanga sente lwaki olumu tezimala ab'e Kampala babadde be basinga zitwala ne Wakiso. Kaakati twasazeewo buli region efune block ya sente wenjogerera kati Kyankwanzi eri mu Greater Mubende era twagyolocatinze biliyoni 3 nga tusuubira nti biliyoni 3 ezo bwe banaba tebazikozesezza mu bbanga lya myezi 6 bajja kubanga region endala nga tuzibawa. Yeyo program sebo naye ekirala Your Excellency kyembadde njagala okwogera nti program eya grow sente eza grow ensako yaayo si nnene ng'eya PDM. Your Excellency emyaka 2 bankwasa biliyoni 12 zokka Uganda yonna mu financial institutions. Sente ezo si nyingi mu myezi 4 gyokka biliyoni 5 ziweddewo kyokka ate nga tulina ebbanga eddala. Nolwekyo twasabye aba World Bank batuyambe sente ezibadde ez'omwaka ogwokubiri tusobole ozongera abakyala. N'olwekyo demand eri waggulu nnyo era yeesiza otuleetera obuzibu obusingayo.
Okay, Mongi.
Your Excellency, when we received complaints from women where most of the women were saying they don't have collateral, in the Ministry of Gender, we decided that let SACCOs come on board because SACCOs and microfinance will lend without condition of collateral. So beginning April, we agreed with the bank that in districts that require not Kampala and Central, we will push SACCOs and cooperatives to lend to women without much of the collateral.
Kale, I have got it. I have not. Okay, sit down, Amongi. Sit down.
Your Excellency, agambye ekizibu akitegedde.
The mistake was.
Ensobi yali.
The World Bank gave money to Uganda government.
World Bank yawa sente ku government ya Uganda.
And agreed that that money should be used by women abaliko obulungi.
Ne bakkiriziganya nti sente ezo zikozesebwe abakyala abaliko obulungi.
The ones who have already started but needed to expand.
Abakyala abali abatandika dda bye bakola nga baagala bayimirizaawo business butagwa.
Not like the one of 1 million, but the ones of 4 million and above.
Kubanga PDM ewa 1 million emu ate grow ng'etandikira ku million 4 okuwa omukyala.
Now the mistake was
ensobi yali
our people to agree
abantu bafe okukkiriza
that they will follow the procedures of the bank.
Okukkiriza nti bajja kugoberera okusaba kwa banka okwaliwo. Obulombolombo bwa banka obwaliwo.
Instead of saying,
mu kifo ky'okugamba,
if you want to lend this money, follow our obulombolombo.
Mu kifo kya bo ogamba nti wemba mwagala sente zino mugoberere obulombolombo bwaffe.
To pass them through those banks.
Okuziyisa mu banka ezo ezisaba emisingo.
So that is one problem.
Ensobi eyaliwo banka kusaba abakyala misingo gye batayina.
But secondly,
ekyokubiri,
that money is not a big money.
Ezo si sente nyingi nnyo.
My money is much bigger than that.
Sente ze eza PDM nyingi okusinga zino.
Because 1 year,
kubanga mu mwaka gumu,
if you put together with Emyoga,
wojigatta wamu n'emyoga,
it is like 1.5 trillion.
Mu mwaka gumu ogatta sente za PDM n'ez'emyoga eba akasirivu kamu. Obutabalika kamu n'ekitundu.
Jukira akakade akawumbi ate onotuuka akatabalika.
Kaba akatabalika kamu n'ekitundu.
That is obuwumbi 1,500.
Bwe buwumbi 1,500 ogatta obuwumbi 1,500 n'oweza akatabalika kamu n'ekitundu.
Ezo ze sente za NRM.
Ezo sente za NRM
zebasindikira. buli mwaka buli obusente bw'abaana abaana
buli sente ez'abaana abo ba mukyala Kasolo Grow
ze mugamba is 200 billion.
He said 100. He said 120.
100 billion in 2 years. Zirimeka nani biyinzika. Where's biyinzika? What is the money you are fighting over?
For a year is 120 billion for this financial year.
And the total?
The total is $75 million for lending.
Mumuride obusente butono. Esente zamwe zenyingi. Your money is much bigger. But this smaller one also should be distributed fairly.
Sente eza PDM n'emyoka zezisinga obungi naye era zino entono kubanga bazituwa ozikozesa nazo bazikozesebwa obulungi.
So this is the first step.
Era eno ye ddaala erisooka.
Where I want you, my daughters here, my bazukuru, to be like Mama Janet.
Wano wayagalira nti bawalabe abazzukulu be abawala babeerenga Mama Janet.
Don't be like my mother Esther.
Tembeeranga maama we Esteri eyafumbisanga enku eyakimanga amazzi ku mitwe.
To do it, in order to do that, you must use this money to get out of poverty.
Mu ngeri ey'okufuuka Mama Janet tulina kutandika ne sente zino zibatuwa nga tulina bye tukola.
Now, secondly, the second channel
ekyokubiri
ekkubo eddala lyetuwandiisemu okubafuula nga Mama Janet.
Ekkubo eddala eriyinza okufuula nga abakyala mmwe n'abawala be nga Mama Janet
is free education.
Okusoma okw'obwereere.
We brought that.
Kusoma kw'obwereere yakuleeta amasomero gaffe aga gavumenti.
But your local people charge money on you.
Kati mmwe abantu be mu lubeera nabeeyo ku masomero babasaba sente.
And if that one had worked,
singa ekyo kyakola,
many girls would have gone through education without being interrupted.
Singa ekyo kyakola nga tebasaba sente, abawala bangi bandiyise mu kusomoka okw'obwereere ne batuuka mu bifo ebyenjawulo eby'amaanyi.
So that is the second line.
Eyo ye line ey'okubiri.
The third line
ey'okusatu
is skills.
Okutendekebwa.
Okufuna obukugu.
Okufuna obukugu obw'omu mutwe.
Obw'emikono.
Obw'emutwe nga okozesa emikono.
Omutwe n'emikono. Now,
omutwe n'emikono.
I am giving some skills in the skilling centers.
Awa ebyokuyiga ebyokozesebwa emikono n'omutwe mu centers ze gyayigiriza.
Recently there was a girl somewhere called Nisima. I want her to give her testimony.
Waliwo omuwala Nesima eyakavaayo ayagalawo testimony. Nesima jangu.
Kubanza okwate boda extension nija n'emyenda yonka unagira kuta nashanga hariho baraba buryo bwabusha nashanga tukaba turya kusingana nawe batoma kabika tukaguraduating atayire na 10 banza ya institutions za Uganda tukubasa graduating atayire na 10 kina twahire tukarya twanya batereza za certificates Excusa mnonga omukayitu ninya nabeyo omuntu okubanza kujwara kandi nkapira masiko kuja munda ajwara konka mukama kubereze kutaga mindset hata namanya kudala pina sente niza kuma kukansta mukano kwa nyine still acharo karo mwana wanje alineduka namza ntoka tukubasa kumpereza azantenda baking and pastry okuteka emigati omusanti konka tukubasa kumpereza ebintu ebyokukora amandazi nango kampereza 1 packet nanekugenderaho nti namara kugura nyoni ngumane ndabyamu namara kugura
Now to cut the story short,
emboozi obutagitwala wala
that was a girl called Nisima in the Mbara area.
oyo omuwala Nesima ali eyo Mbarara.
She had nothing.
Yali talina.
No land.
Nga talina ttaka.
No property.
Talina wadde ekyobugagga kyonna.
But she came in my skilling hubs.
N'agenda mu matendekero ge agayigiriza ebyemitwe nga bakozesa engalo.
And she learned baking.
Nayiga okola emigaati ne cake.
And then he started making mandazi for somebody else, but was getting some commission. And because of that, eventually she got able to make her own mandazi. And she's now employing 2 people. So you can see from nothing, you get a skill, a skill gets you a job, the mulimu gets you a capital to start your own, and eventually you also become an employer. So therefore, when we talk of women, according to the NRM, these are some of the roots to emancipation. Wealth creation,
okugaggawala,
apart from wealth creation, then you free education.
Okuyigirizibwa okw'obwerere mu masomero gaffe aga UPE n'aga USE aga secondary.
So that's why all of us must insist on free education.
Kyekyo lwaki abakubiriza mwenna nti mubeere nnyo ku masomero gaffe ago abaana basomere obwereere.
It will benefit the girls but also the boys.
Kijja kuyamba abawala baffe n'abalenzi.
Then the skills.
Ebyokuyigiriza eby'omutwe n'ebyemikono.
Now, with those 3 ways,
mu ngeri ez'essatu z'amenye,
then you add what Amongi was talking about.
Ng'ogattako Minister Amongi ky'abadde ayogerako.
Political empowerment.
Okwongerako ebyobufuzi.
Okuwa enkizo abakyala okubeera mu byobufuzi. Kino kye bateekawo nga nze wendi omubaka omukyala nga nva mu district nzekka women empowerment. That is an additional way.
Eyo nyongereza y'abakyala.
Then legislation.
Okugenda mu parliament abayisa amateeka.
Like for instance when we said matrimonial home.
Ngawe mbeera n'amaka.
When we
ngawe tugamba nti amaka amatukuvu.
Omusajja tatunda amaka awatali omukyalo.
Ngawe twagamba nti omwami tatunda ttaka oba maka ng'omukyala tataddeeko takkiriza. Ebyo NRM byekola ng'eyisa omukyala.
These are the 5 roots.
Gino ze makubo 5.
Bonna bagaggawale. Bonna basome. Emikono. The political empowerment.
Okwongerako abakyala mu byobufuzi ng'abaawo abakyala buli LC1 kuliko omukyala.
And legislation.
N'okwongerako abayisa amateeka abakyala.
Plus the tokenism, like when, as she was saying, appointing a woman vice president.
Ng'okulaba nti tulina vice president nga mukyala, prime minister nga mukyala, kwe kulaba okuyimusa abakyala nti nabo basobola ate ne bakola bulungi. Tukwebaza Your Excellency.
To become examples.
Babeere nga kyakulabirako.
So therefore, we have moved very well,
Era twali tutambudde bulungi.
but we could have moved even more
Era twantambudde n'okusingawo
if we implement, like, for instance, free education.
singa twongera okumuyamba abaana ne basomera obwereere.
And also,
Era
you cannot talk of women emancipation without talking about emancipation of the whole society.
Era tesobola kwogera ku bakyala genda mu maaso nga tetwogedde na ku bantu bali mu society ab'enjawulo.
Bonna awamu.
Bonna awamu.
Abanyankole bwe bagambira nti owayekuba ekikungu atukula nkakyo, bw'osemberera ekiswa ekimyufu ofaanagana nakyo. Kati bw'obeera n'abagagga, your parents amaka magagga, nawe you also benefit from that.
Nga bwe bagamba nti olinaana ekiswa ofaanana nakyo, era w'olinaana abagagga ofuuka omugagga, ova mu maka amagagga obeera omugagga, twongere okulaba nga twegomba okugenda mu maaso.
Therefore, we must also insist on the whole home, not just women only.
Era tulina okugatta amaka wonna, si bakyala bokka, naye okulaba nga n'abaana be tuzaala n'abaami baffe beenyigira mu nsonga ezo.
That's why NRM talks about socio-economic transformation.
Kyekyo lwaki NRM eyogera ku socio-economic transformation, okulaba nga tutambula okweyubula nga tugenda mu maaso mu mbeera y'ebyenfuna.
Like omusota, to cast out the old skin and you get a new skin like the snake.
Ng'omusota we gweyubula ne guva mu kiriba ekikadde ne gudda mu kipya nga tugenda mu maaso.
So therefore, women emancipation must be put in this context as a whole.
Kati era kyekyo lwaki tugamba nti abakyala ogenda mu maaso tulina okiteeka wamu okulaba nga abantu bonna bakibeeramu.
So the 5 roots, please.
Ezo emirandira 5.
Number 1, bonna bagaggawale.
Esooka bonna bagaggawale.
Number 2, bonna basome.
Eyokubiri bonna basome.
Then skills.
N'ebyokuyiga eby'omu mutwe n'emikono.
Then the political empowerment.
Okulaba nga waliwo okwongera abakyala nga bakulembera bannaabwe mu byobufuzi.
Okubawa enkizo.
Okubawa enkizo okukulembera bannaabwe mu byobufuzi.
Then legislation.
Okulaba nga beenyigira mu bakola amateeka ng'era bakyala okubongerako namba.
Then symbolism, the one we are talking about. Symbolism.
Akabonero.
When I appoint a vice president who is a woman.
Yeah, symbolism nga vice president wetumuyina nga mukyala, nga prime minister wetumuyina nga mukyala, nga speaker parliament nga mukyala.
It encourages other girls to know to.
Kireetera abawala abalala okusoma n'okulaba nga beegomba ebifo ebyo.
So we are happy to be here.
Musanyufu okubeera ekyankwanzi leero.
It is not just a celebration, it is an inspection trip.
Tebadde kukuza lunaku lwokka naye azzeeko eno kulambula n'ebikolwa ebiriyo.
I want to thank Omukadde Esteri okumpa bwino.
Ayagala okwebaza Mukadde Esteri okugyayo bwino.
Namwe
mwenna.
To show how unhappy you are.
Okulaba nga muli basanyufu. Okulaba.
To see how unhappy you are about.
Okulaba nga bwali omusanyufu.
How unhappy.
Okulaba nga bw'atali musanyufu. Unhappy, tali musanyufu.
Bwe batali basanyufu.
Nga bwe batali basanyufu.
Kulwa programs ezimu.
Okulaba nti temuli basanyufu olwa programs ezimu obutatambula bulungi.
So you have now done my work.
Mukoze omulimu gwe gwazzeeko okulambula.
Kubanga munyambye abatali okubasasula.
Mumuyambye.
Without me paying you.
Mumuyambye n'amanya ng'ate tabasasudde.
Mumpadde bwino w'ababbi.
Mumuwadde bwino w'ababbi.
Mwebale nnyo.
Mwebalire ddala.
Finally,
ekisembayo
the budget of the women councils and youth councils
budget embalirira ya councils y'abakyala n'ey'abavubuka.
We shall sort it out because what was supposed to be merged were the secretariats.
Ajja kikolako kubanga secretariat ndowooza ekyo ye yakitukwatamu.
What was supposed to be merged?
Yeah. Bye baali balina okugatta
buli
obutongole obulala nga mwe temuliiko aba women council.
Obutongole obuddukanya amaofiisi.
Obutongole obuddukanya amaofiisi nga mwe temuliiko.
Naye si structures za women council, those can't be merged.
Naye nga si tweyanziza Your Excellency nga si structures za women council ne youth council.
When we merged the Ministry of Agriculture,
wetwagatta Ministry ya Agriculture
and Veterinary
and n'ebyobulunzi
and Fisheries
n'ebyennyanja
and cooperatives,
n'ey'obwegasi,
we have one permanent secretary.
Netufuna permanent secretary omu.
But the Ministry of Agriculture has its structure.
Naye Ministry ya Agriculture eina amatabi gaayo mwetambulira.
You cannot make an agricultural officer a veterinary officer.
Tosobola kufuula agriculture officer veterinary officer kubanga oli wa bulimi oli ate wa bulunzi.
They remain.
Basigalawo.
But coordinated by one permanent secretary.
Naye nga bali ku mutwe gwa muntu omu.
So that's where the saving was.
Awo we wali obuzibu.
Saving.
Saving.
Okekereza sente.
Awo saving we yali. Awo kekereza we kwajira.
So
I
will make sure that you get your 500 million. That's not a big amount.
Tweyanziza Your Excellency ajja kulaba nti bilioni 5 zifunika.
Milioni 5.
Milioni 5 zifunika.
Then the women visiting my farm, when I finish my up-country trips, my staff bring my girls so that they visit me on my farm.
Abagala omulambula wamala entambula ye gyali mukati mujja bagenda kuorganizinga mu mukyalire.
So finally, I am happy to be here in Bukwiri.
Era ali musanyufu okubeera e Bukwiri.
Because 1981 I attacked your police station here.
Kubanga mu 1981 yakuba police yali awo ng'agirumba ng'akyali mu nsiko.
And I got some guns from there.
Era n'afunawo emmundu zammwe ez'ebukwiri.
But now I have come as a peaceful man.
Era kati azze nga muntu wa mirembe naye nga yakozesa emmundu zammwe ez'amuwanguza.
Okunsondera ku mundu.
Mwebale musondera ku mundu ab'ebukwiri.
So God help you.
Era Mukama abayambe.
Thank you.
Mwebale nnyo. Tweyanza Your Excellency olw'ebigambo ebirungi by'otuwadde. Omukama akutuweere obulamu akwongere n'amagezi. Thank you so much.
Can we give a better hand clap? Surely. The Women Council, you have been given your things. Can you give a better morale? Thank you, thank you. Your Excellency, we have a few activities that you will undertake before we go into the medal. Before that, I want Honorable Bukenya to recognize a few people.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, wano we tulinawo omubaka akiikirira area MP w'ekitundu kino, Bingi Patrick Nyanzi. Tetusobodde kubanjula bonna naye Bingi Patrick Nyanzi ayimuka kuwanikire ku mukono taata wuuyo gwenkiika naye wano. Your Excellency, entwete gy'oyose bikaali era naye gy'akiikirira njagala okutegeeza maama Janet nti wiiki eno gye tubaddeko abakyala aba members ba honorable ba visionary women batuwa sanitary pads mu secondary schools 10 era tubadde nabo nga tuzigaba aba wazalendo saako batuwadde mama kids eziwali wasi miliyoni 6.5 excellence twebaza amajeego gatukwatiddeko nga bannakyankwanzi batuwadde mama kids nga zigula obukadde 6.5 sanitary pads zatuuse ne mu masomero agamu aba honorable ze batuwadde tweyanzizza ne ministry ya energy yatukwatiddeko ku nfumba ennungi era tugenda kulaba tugenda okugaba ebyokufumbisa maama Ruth Nankabirwa twebaza weebale. Banaye muterere kirabika ebyuma we bigudde abantu ne beekanga muterere tewali mutawaana guliwo bino bye bataddewo ebyuma bye bigudde ne mwekanga tewali mutawaana banaye mutuule tewali mutawaana mutuule bino ebyuma bye bigudde ne mwekanga buli omu ayagala kulaba ku his excellence banaye temubisindika mutuule banaye mutuule. Those things failed, and they thought with this army here, they thought there is something wrong. Bane tewali kibaddewo ebyuma ebikwata bye bibadde bigudde mutuule mutusaasire.
Thank you, Excellency. Excellency, we are requesting you to launch a book by Aisha Omar Ahmed Kablo, and then also launch a magazine, Imagine. I want the two to stand up and step in front, and while I introduce the book. Your Excellency, the book, From Turmoil to Triumph by Aisha Omar Ahmed Kablo highlights the instrumental role of the African Union Mission in Somalia, AMISOM, particularly the Uganda People's Defense Forces, UPDF, in fostering a secure environment for peace building and humanitarian efforts. We want to congratulate Aisha for the book, and I request the team of His Excellency to usher His Excellency to launch. I request the Vice President and the Permanent Secretary to represent the Ministry of Gender. I can't be there at the moment, please. Excellency, the Vice President and the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Gender. And I also request Mr. Mawa to be on standby. Thank you. I'm seeing other team joining His Excellency the President. The author, the book also focuses on consolidating state institutions It focuses on enhancing national security, unwavering commitment of the UPDF and the leadership of Uganda in ushering peace in Somalia. The next is a magazine, the magazine titled Imagine. This magazine showcases the best of the Pearl of Africa, looking at trade, investment, tourism, especially in the diaspora. The author, led by Moses Mawa and Jacqueline Tumusime of the diaspora based in Canada, presents this under their flagship media company called Silver Trust. The magazine offers relations and publishes the most influential Ugandans, and it has been endorsed by His Excellency the President and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and showcase Ugandan in the diaspora and their commitment to engage in marketing Uganda. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, I want to request the team with the dummy checks for OWEP. I'm going to call the districts, and the districts will be represented by the RDC, COW, and the Chairperson Women Council. Can I have the three from Kyankwanzi District, Kakumiro District, Oima District, Kiboga District, and Oima City, the five, represented by the three. If their woman member of parliament is around, you can join. They will be given, then His Excellency will take a picture only. But we have requested that Her Excellency, the Vice President, will hand over the checks. Then His Excellency, the President, will take the picture only. The district chairpersons also, you join, please. The district chairpersons. Oima local government, Mugisha, Mubarak, St. Paul Emmanuel, Margaret Ruhigwa, the chairperson, Kiboga, Nsiro Gerald Kalunda, Nsubuga, Caroline Musoke, and I requested if the women members of parliament are there and RDC. Her Excellency, the Vice President, I have to disturb you. And we start with which district is ready? Is Oima District Local Government ready? Oima District Local Government. Her Excellency, the Vice President is ready to hand over. You will all get the dummy checks, then the President will just take a picture when you are holding your checks. Chiboga District Local Government, they are not around. Kyankwanzi, are we now ready for a picture with HE or not yet? His Excellency, the President is ready for the pictures. You hold your dummy checks, and His Excellency, the President will stand to take a picture with the team. Looks like there are districts that are not around. Honorable Christine, you might need to stay there because we have about 3 certificates for the best groups in Kyankwanzi. Once they finish, if they are done, can I call those receiving certificates for outstanding women groups? Can I ask the following groups: Tukulakunle group, women group; Nyamugisha women group; Dembe Bachala women group. Those 3, please, can you go and get your certificates of best performance? If you do not hurry, you're going to miss the pictures with the HE. I want also the following people group to be on standby: our cultural and traditional leaders. After that group, you will take a picture with HE, the president. I don't know whether we still have our members of the diplomatic corps or they left. They left? Okay. Thank you. Can we have the kings led by their chairperson, the Isabaruli, so you can have a photo moment with His Excellency, the President. And I'm concluding, Your Excellency, we have 3 chairpersons of the Women Council from Kampala, from Budaka and Bunyangabo. There's 3. Can you just step in front, the 3 chairpersons, while I wait for the visionary women? The visionary women. I'm ending with those 3 ladies. Can you have a photo moment with HE after the visionary women? I don't want... I'm requesting those who are coming for the medal to now step near, to come near here, those that are taking over for the medalists. Your Excellency, the 3 chairpersons, I request you step near HE, the President. Thank you. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, I now want to hand over, due to pressing time and issues beyond my control. We have to request now the Master of Ceremony of the Chancery to come and go through the medal and the medalist. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for everything.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Retired Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and your dear spouse, Ma'am Janet Katawa Museveni, who by God's grace doubles as Minister for Education and Sports. Her Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda,
oyo n'omukoro nk'embaga AGM za sako graduations emipira n'enkunga n'ezindi noyenda ngu abantu bazilebe live ningashi butuno aha TV West utaferwa mu gishogu obwa hati TV West nebasa kwereka omukoro gwawe aha kabeyi akacendezibweho live ningashi butuno tukirire aha office zitu omuri Boma Mbarara ninga otere simeji eya notina 14 ashatu n'eshatu nshanju not TV West nehinda
otaferwa
bono kazuka nibwo kadyoka barugaho
ubwire bwa Museveni nakiro kuzuga
oina abakazi babagaye bana
nyina abakazi mukaga
abakazi mukaga omuri babona banyokozara cyo kumanya
nimanya mazaro muwanza omukazi wo kubanza
omukazi wo kubanza okazobayanza
abasigara tinku bamanyu
oga wambere jama omukazi wo kubanza mwetoha
omukazi wo
otaragire
niba tune doli
ogo torijayo
ogo nkazayo
ogo kajayo owakabiri nomwetoha
bamweta Chelsea
ogo kajayo nigo torijayo
tindizayo akusuga nuba wa
esonga kwa cyo kubashuka
kasiba
ne muninga ne
abakanyira bakazati nibo bakwesengereza abasizi
nibo bakubeshengereza ati ayana
Nabaramusi ninye Didier Drogba omubaro gw'abantu abarukwenga n'imitwaro 25 nabafera omuru butandu ahanguto zo muri Afrika buri mwaka ekintu kinyerekereza abo kwa butandezi nizibasa kutangwa kwaratenda jireji kwerinda butandu buri ruguto rwine speed eyoshemeye kuvuga gikoratere cyendeza speed ya motoka yawe waba yo mukona aha bushumo hamwe na habitara reka hakanya hagati yawe na motoka ezindi waba ari amuhanda kwaratera amateka agakuhebwa twena tukuma magara gitu twetantare butandu ahanguto za Afrika.
Here's your chance to win school fees for your child for a whole year. Just pay school fees using Momo.
Kanderi izoba twatayira aba Honest Model Primary School Romuhoro Ibanda echatureta no kwasa omusinguzi witu wa school fees omwaka gona second term third term na first term ya 2026.
Unganyo chance meza munonga ukurabansa sururu mwaka gona mwenanya nagurukana atagorana azana ahabwo kusemerwa mukama abaherezo mu gisabambe.
Dial *165 *80 hash. Select option 2 for school pay. Select option 1 to pay school fees. Enter the student number and amount and approve the transaction. You will now enter the draw to win school fees for your child for